Today we are looking at top 5 quotes from an inspector calls. You've hopefully seen the video on top 5 quotes from Maccabee, from Macbeth. Today I am looking at top 5 quotes from Inspector Calls. If you don't know, guys and girls, follow me on Instagram. Yeah, I do a lot of 1-minute videos looking at small, concise elements of the English GCSE exam. Check it out, hopefully it'll help you guys. But without further ado, let's begin. I'm using this book here, so if you want to follow me in your own copies, feel free to do so. Alright, my first quote is on page 9, and this is a very famous quote. You've all probably heard it many times, but the quote reads as follows. Mr. Birling says, "A man has to make his own way, has to look after himself and his family too." So, a man has to make his own way, has to look after himself and his family too. Now guys, look, this quote is so important because this quote epitomizes capitalism. Capitalism is the belief that everything is about benefit, everything is about profit, and all that comes first is me, myself, and I. Look out for number one, then care about other people. And that's exactly what Mr. Birling says. A man must make his own way. Sorry, a man has to make his own way. Has to. There's no choice here. You gotta do what's best for you. Forget worrying about Eva Smiths and John Smiths and all the other people. You do you. That's what he's saying. Yeah, now look at the society we live in, guys. It's the same. Everyone wants to do what's best for them. And that's exactly what Mr. Birling is saying. But what that does is, that creates problems. Because if all we do is care about ourselves, then we become very, very selfish. Very, very individualistic. He has to look after himself. Now guys, look. Then you got a dash, a pause. And as an afterthought, once you've taken care of yourself and once you've taken care of your own needs, then look after your family too. Guys, the family is the afterthought. Surely family should be the first priority. Yeah, because guys, look, do you know what? If Mr. Birling said, don't take care of strangers, maybe you could justify that, maybe. But even his own family, he's saying they're an afterthought. You come first. Take care of yourself. Take care of your own needs. And this is exactly what the inspector comes to challenge. He comes to challenge these capitalist beliefs. That's why this quote is important. This quote can be used for capitalism, for socialism, for Mr. Birling versus the inspector, for why Sheila changes, because Sheila goes against this quote. That's the first quote. I don't know why my eye is itchy, but let's carry on. Guys, quote number 2. I am looking at now one of my favorite parts in the play. Page 40, if you've got this copy. I am looking, so guys, in Act 1, Gerald gives Sheila a ring. And don't see that as just an engagement ring. That ring is symbolic. That ring symbolizes power and control. The moment he puts the ring on her finger, I think that's the wedding finger, I think, or is that one? Drop it below if it's that one or that one. But as soon as he puts the ring on her finger, that ring symbolizes, now you're mine. Now I control you. You belong to me. What I want, you do. But this part's fantastic. So guys, after Gerald exposes himself and tells us all about his affair with Eva Smith, Daisy Venton, this is what the quote reads. Gerald, I think you'd better take this with you. Sheila hands him the ring. That quote is so powerful. Yeah, a lot of students look for so many quotes to talk about either the effect of socialism or how the character of Sheila changes. Guys, that quote is the best quote you can find. Because her handing him the ring, you must talk about it in the way that the ring symbolizes power, and her handing him the ring is symbolic of the power coming back to her. Now, quote number 3 is on the same page. Now, look at Mr. Birling. This guy has no self-respect. Mr. Birling says, "Now, Sheila, I'm not defending him, but you must understand that a lot of young men..." Pause. Sheila cuts him off by saying, "Don't interfere, please." But guys, in saying, "Sheila, I'm not defending him," Mr. Birling is defending him. Why is Mr. Birling defending Gerald. Because for him, this marriage was a business deal. His daughter was a commodity. He was exchanging his daughter. You take my daughter, I take some wealth and power of you, because hopefully our families can do business together. And guys, that shows you the darker side of the belief every man must make his own way. That involves selling your family. Guys, he's literally selling Sheila for money, for benefit, for profit. And he has no shame. Even when he finds out that his son-in-law has cheated on his daughter, he's trying to defend his son-in-law. Go ask your dads what they would do. I very much doubt they would defend the man. So guys, point being, at this point, Mr. Birling shows how he has no... What's the word I'm looking for? He has no shame. He says it openly. He defends Gerald openly. Yeah guys, he has no shame, he has no filter. Alright, let's move on. Those are the first 3 quotes. Quote number 4. I want to quickly talk about when Mrs. Birling says, girls of that class. Massive generalization. What does she mean by that? Girls of that class. She's saying, she's generalizing Eva Smith, but what is she part of? She's saying, these poor people, these working class poor people, they're all like that. They're liars, they cheat, they steal. Because he was talking about how the money and where the money came from, and that Eva Smith, Daisy Renton, said how the money wasn't hers. But guys, the point being, girls of that class, it shows you how the upper class viewed the entire poor population. So Mr. Birling sacks her. When Mrs. Birling refuses help, it's as though they have a prejudice against these people. They're poor. Before they even sit and have a discussion, they already think, you know what, these people are X, Y, Z. They have thoughts, Z, I'm not in America, said, they have thoughts about these people already. Now guys, point being, it shows you the capitalist mentality, the elite mentality. We are up here, you are down there, you stay there. Now what makes it worse? Class is bad enough, but girls, Eva Smith is stuck. Yeah, she is royally stuck. Not only is she poor, but she's a woman. That makes it even more tough to get anything in the society. That's quote number 4. And finally, guys, I want to end with the infamous words of the inspector before he leaves on page 56. When he says, why did I close the book? When he says, let's do 2 in 1. He says, one Eva Smith has gone, but there are millions and millions and millions of Eva and Johns. Guys, he doesn't literally mean Eva and John. He's talking about how these names represent the entire poor population. So he's trying to say it's not too late to change. Eva Smith may have died, but there's many other people you can save by your actions. And the next part's important. If you don't fix up, you might get away with it in this life, because the government is corrupt and society is corrupt, and money will get you freedom and money will buy you the police. So you might get away with it, but don't forget this important point, guys. But you'll be taught it in fire and blood and anguish. I don't know what you guys think, but for me, that's a clear reference to hellfire. The inspector is saying to them that if you don't change your ways, if you don't fix up, then be prepared to receive the punishment when you die. Now guys, look, there are many other quotes I can talk about. You've got quotes like, we are members of one body, that the inspector says on the same page, in the same little paragraph. You can use that to show socialism. There's loads of quotes, but those for me are the top 5 quotes because they can be used for loads of different questions. Try it. Try to use the quotes I just said and put it into an essay and email me your essays. I'll take a look and let's see if we have written the paragraphs and used the quotes the best way possible. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for watching. Honestly, thank you. Thank you for following me on Instagram. Like and share the video. Any questions, drop them down below. It's been Mr. Everything English.